Hey guys, this is Element 79. Welcome to episode 4. I went out and got myself some acid. Hit the hardware store, so we got a little bit of muriatic acid, 4 liters of that. I believe it is 31.45%, which is more than what we need. So this will be good with extracting gold foil from circuit boards. And then I also picked up some sulfuric acid, which is also battery acid. Now this stuff is only about 35% as it is. When we're using sulfuric acid, we need to be using concentrated sulfuric acid, which is about 92 to 98%. So we're going to need to refine this down to, well, I guess refine this up to about 98%. So I'll show you how to do that. So yeah, let's start dropping some acid. Okay, so pop this guy open. Now I'm going to leave the muriatic acid alone for now because there's nothing I need to do with that for now. This is what I'm going to put my gold foil connectors, my gold pins, that kind of stuff in, along with hydrogen peroxide. But we're not going to deal with that right now. What I want to show you is how to concentrate your sulfuric acid. So like I said, it's about 35%. It doesn't say on here what it is officially. I've just seen on different websites that it's about 35%. So I'm going to show you how to actually calculate what the percentage of concentration of sulfuric acid is on these, because you're going to need to know that when you refine this down. So this level of, this container is, I believe, yeah, 940 milliliters of sulfuric acid. So once we concentrate that down, it's going to go down to about 300 milliliters, maybe a little bit less. And this was about $24 Canadian. So it's a lot more expensive than muriatic acid. This is a 4-liter jug of muriatic acid, and it was $24. This was also $24 at 940 milliliters, which is actually going to end up being, for me, between 250 and 350 milliliters of concentrated sulfuric acid. So a little bit more expensive, but got to do what you got to do, right? So for now, I'm going to put the muriatic acid away. And so this is 940 milliliters. Unfortunately, my 2-liter beaker has broken. I haven't gotten a new one, so we'll use the 1 liter for now, and maybe we'll just do this in 2 batches. Make sure you're using your proper PPE. So I'm going to go grab my gloves and safety glasses. For now, nitro gloves are fine. Once you start getting more concentrated, you're not going to want to be using nitro gloves. It can eat through them. Once you start converting this over to nitric acid, it will actually catch your nitro gloves on fire while they're on your hands, which is not a good thing. So you are going to want to get chemical resistant rubber gloves to be able to refine this further. But for now, these will be okay. All right, gloves on, safety glasses on, as Bill Nye the Science Guy would always say. Let's open this puppy up. Like I said, I'm probably only going to fill it to the 500 milliliter level for now and just do 2 batches. So we just pour this guy in. All the way up to the 500 milliliter level, right about there. Put that cap back on. Keep that safely out of the way. Okay, so what is my concentration of sulfuric acid? It's obviously mixed with water. We need to find out how concentrated it is just to have a base level before we start concentrating it even more. So the best way to do that, you get yourself a graduated cylinder and a scale. Turn that puppy on. All right, we're going to throw it on there to find out what the weight of the graduated cylinder is, which is 41 grams. Now we're going to add 100 milliliters of sulfuric acid into here. Now, when you measure it, 100 milliliters of pure water would be 100 grams. Let's see what it is with sulfuric acid. So, 100 milliliters. Yeah. So we're at 166 grams. So 166 grams minus the 41 grams for the beaker itself. 166 minus 41. We're looking at about 125. So taking a look at my chart here, 125 milliliters at 60 degrees Celsius is 34.5% sulfuric acid. So that's going to be our base level, 34.5% sulfuric acid, and we got to get that up to over 92%. So I've got my first batch here already cooking. I've got my stir bar in there and the heat on. Now, normally I would have the catch plate on here, but the stir bar doesn't work with the catch plate I have. Unfortunately, my original Corningware catch plate cracked on me because I was slippery hands and dropped it. But I do have underneath this black base, I do have a catch basin, something you would use almost like for a water cooler or something like that, in case of anything. I'm pretty confident with this. It is good borosilicate glass. The one thing you do need to worry about is any sort of condensation coming down the sides of the glass and catching contact with the hot plate itself and the glass. That can cause cracks. I'm going to let it go like this. I don't necessarily recommend that. I would recommend having some sort of catch basin, but we're going to go with this for now. I'm going to leave this go for a while under medium high to high heat and see if it can start evaporating off some of this water. So we'll catch back in a couple hours. The thing I also did want to show you is just how potent this stuff can get. So we know already what the concentration is, 34.5%. So I'm just going to write that here, 34.5%. And I'm going to just drop a couple drops of it on this piece of paper. We'll leave that sit. So leave it alone for now. And then we'll do that again after we concentrate it and see what kind of changes there are. Because once we get this thing good and concentrated, it will not be looking like that. I'll tell you right now. It's going to eat right through this piece of paper like it's nothing. So we'll keep that over here. We'll let this concentrate for a while, and we'll go from there. Okay, so it's been a couple hours, and the level really hasn't dropped very much at all, just a touch. And I noticed that hot plate's on max, and it isn't getting any higher than 154 Fahrenheit. So I don't think this hot plate's going to work for this. I'm going to have to get something that'll go a little bit hotter. So I will have to get back to this video down the road when I get a better hot plate. Hey guys, so just a little update. I've moved the concentrating sulfuric acid over to a new hot plate. I checked out the concentration beforehand on the old hot plate with the stir rod, and it was at about 50 to 51%. So we're going to throw it on something a little bit hotter here. I'm slowly warming it up. And then we'll take a look. I changed the amount. So I had about 300 milliliters at the time. I moved it down to 200. in a smaller beaker so that I can use a large beaker as a catch plate. And we'll see what we get here with this guy slowly warming up. See if we can get it concentrated a little bit more. I'm thinking once we get about the 93% range, it's going to be just over 100, 125 milliliters, right around that line. So let's keep an eye on it and see where we go. Thanks, guys. All right, we got another update. So I have a beaker inside of a beaker. This is just kind of my catch plate. So I put a paper towel around the outside to prevent condensation from running down the outer beaker and touching the inner beaker, because that can create cracks in the glass and shattering. But what's strange is the sulfuric acid seems to be reacting more on the lower side of the paper towel than the upper side. And you would think the upper side is in contact more with the acid itself. That's kind of a strange observation. If anyone knows why, I mean, the top is starting to burn a little bit. So we're down to just below 150 milliliters. So we're almost at our 90% based on my guesstimations. I'm going to leave this for another hour, and then I'm going to head to bed because it's getting late. And then I will measure the concentration in the morning, see where we're at. But I think we're getting close. Okay, so I did the math. Looks like we've hit 93% concentration on sulfuric acid. So let's see what that actually does compared to, just bring back my trusty 34.5% before. It kind of browned out the paper, but not a whole lot. Now let's compare that to our 93%. So I'm just going to get a little tiny sample. As you can see, instantly it burns right through the paper. This is why it's so dangerous. Okay, so we're at 93%. This is more than enough what we need to make nitric acid. So we're going to move on to the next step on the next episode. But that just kind of gives you an idea of just how corrosive high concentration sulfuric acid can be. All right, on to the next episode. And in the meantime, get that gold.